We'll move on to an easy one for the government, then the pokies, the poker machine reforms. And the Andrew Wilkie, the report came down during the week. I guess the most significant thing, or the new element in there, was that for small country clubs or pubs who have 15 poker machines or less, they'll have 7 years to get their act together on this. I'm not sure whether that's going to pacify many of them. Here's Andrew Wilkie.
I have a very good relationship with the government on this. There is not the slightest whiff of a problem in that relationship. And I am now more confident than ever that these reforms are going to go ahead. And I would just simply say to those in the poker machine industry, not all of you have been cooperative with me over the last 8 months. It really is way beyond time to work with the committee, to work with me, to work with the government, because the reforms are going to happen.
So, Nicky, I guess what he's saying, there are a couple of things. One, too much media interest has been focused on this issue of whether I'll bring down the government or I won't. He says he's got an excellent relationship.
Which he happened to
he raised
propagate,
that, yes, in the first place. And the second thing was, to the industry, work with me.
Work with me. But a lot of it also was pitched to the independents like Oakshott and Windsor, who were very worried about the impact of some of these measures on the smaller clubs. Now, I spoke to Windsor yesterday, and he said, OK, exemptions until 2018, but what happens after that? You know, what are the guarantees for the smaller clubs after that? So he's worried about that, but more fundamentally, he's also concerned that these measures aren't going to really do anything to stem problem gambling.
That they won't work.
That they won't work. So unless Wilkie can convince him that they will work, I think they're going to find it very hard to get Wilkie on board. Also, the other problem for the government...
To get Windsor on board.
Sorry, to get Windsor on board. But the other problem for the government, too, is that they have to get the states on side. And so far, New South Wales and Victoria are adamant that they won't go for mandatory pre-commitment, they want voluntary. So there are problems on every front. Like every other issue, this one is not very clear-cut and it's
Can you see
messy.
a way through on this?
Well, I can see a way through it, but Barry, if you're going to offer someone a 7-year exemption, you might as well give them an exemption for life. If the argument is that the small clubs couldn't cope with the impost, they're never going to be able to cope with the impost. So I think Andrew Wilkie